No. Hello there, everybody, and welcome to Dylan Knows. See how good I am at that? I coughed, and I jumped right into saying good morning.
Especially because it's afternoon. Woo!
Well, it is afternoon. Yes, technically it is. Yes, it's 12:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, good afternoon, everybody out there in podcast watching land. And I made this decision a couple weeks ago. I'm officially now going to be calling this a podcast because it's the trendy thing to do. I mean, I'm in 108 episodes. Granted, it's technically a video, but I like to call it a podcast because it makes me seem trendy and chic and very cool. So I am a podcaster now. So welcome to our podcast. Of course, all three of the lovely ladies I have here have all been a part of my podcast before in the past. So let me introduce my fellow co-hosts today. First of all, Bronwyn is my co-host for Dylan Knows International.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Bronwyn.
How are you today, Dylan?
Doing very good. Now, for those who haven't seen the show, she's international. She's from Canada. Yay, Canada.
You'll have to get up there to see.
Then, next...
Yes, you have to come up and see me. This will be amazing. But then we can host from international. Wouldn't that be exciting? Yes, that would be good. Oh, we would rule the world.
We would, absolutely. Because our next co-host is Brianne, who's from the Commonwealth of Virginia. So, yay, Virginia.
Woo!
All of our wonderful misunderstood redneckery. Woo!
And then speaking of rednecks, today.
How's that for a segue?
Well, I had to because of last night's Snark Fest on Sci-Fi. I love the cookie picture you posted, Amy, with the finger. That was freaking hilarious. Amy Fergar, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
As I said before, I like the blue. It's different and it looks kind of cool. You know, the blue you got going.
Yeah, that's cool. Because I can't see, I can't tell. But like I said, I don't have my laptop here, so I was using his, and they don't use a lot of light here. This is the brightest the light goes, so I guess I'll just be blue today.
Maybe Pat's a vampire.
Oh, maybe he does. He does sleep a lot during the day, and he does work at a hospital where he has access to blood.
Does he sparkle?
Not so much. Maybe greasy sometimes, but not sparkle.
I
asked him to come in here in a little bit so you guys could meet the baby daddy.
Awesome. That's because this is our geek shower.
Yes.
Because Amy is pregnant, and when are you due again? Sometime in June, right?
March. March 4th. But I swear it's going to be my birthday, like March 18th. But everybody's saying, no, that's not how it works. I said, yeah, I'm just going to hold it in until then.
Yeah,
or at least until spring break, so people will be out of school and off work and stuff like that.
14 days is a little dangerous. So I think your doctor would probably say, you know what, you probably need to get out in maybe 10 days. Because
though, they say the first one can go long. So
yeah, that's what I've heard. But then I think it was Julia online. I forgot her handle, but she said hers was 6 weeks early, her first child. So that kind of freaks me out.
It happens, but with my kids, Noelle was about a week or so late, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Noah was, as I mentioned, was like 10, 11 days late, and we had the day that Dawn went into labor, we were going to go to the doctor, and he was going to check her out again, say, okay, if I don't see anything moving, we'll make the birth the next day. We'll give you the medicine and get it started, and so happened that she started going to labor that afternoon, and we had him. Just be careful, Amy. The first baby does take a long time to come out. I don't want to scare you.
No, I've heard so many horror stories. I have a friend that's all into the natural thing, and she goes, you know what, just don't get an epidural because the pain, it makes you so much closer. And I'm like, wait, are you wanting me to die? What?
Brianne, you're shaking your Brianne. Yes.
Yeah, what's your story?
No, I tried that because I had a lot of friends that were all into the all natural. Now I'd like to say that these friends never had children, never planned on having children, not had children, and they're like, "Oh, aren't you going to use cloth diapers and all organic, make yourself baby and have it?" And they really got me into it. And I read all these books, and I was in agony for like 4 or 5 hours when I started crying for the epidural. I was like, screw this, give me the drugs. Because my mom, too, was like, you're not a real woman if you don't. And I was like, get her out of here. They ended up giving me the epidural. Then the poor little guy, my son, he wrapped himself up in the umbilical cord.
Oh.
So I had to have a C-section anyway after all that, that was no problem. Once they were like, yep, he's gotten himself all caught up, and that was easy. But yeah, no, don't listen. You do whatever the heck you want and tell everybody else shut up. And if they're there telling you advice, make them leave.
Kick them out. Well,
Kick 'em out.
Well, I was wondering if I could do like a scheduled instead, because some doctors let you do that.
Yeah.
Now, I had that with my daughter because they were so close. They were afraid I'd bust after kid number 2. That's really graphic. They were like, you're too close together. So they let me choose. They said, you can try or you can just schedule. And I was like, I'd rather not go through all of that and then have it be a C-section anyway. So let's just pick a date.
Yeah.
And that was great. It was beautiful.
Maybe I should do that then. That's a little less scary. I'd rather be cut open immediately instead of waiting for hours and hours.
Yeah, you've got options. You really do. With Noelle, Dawn was in labor for exactly 24 hours and 24 minutes, and the main problem was that Noelle was coming out face up, which is not the way you want the baby to go. You want them to come face down because the nose, being the cartilage, gets stuck, up there. So there were a couple times where Dawn had to push for hours on end. It just wasn't working because of that. So we had to, settle it down, reduce it back, and then try again. It still wasn't working. So the doctor said, okay, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to use I like to call it the vacuum suck, which is the vacuum cleaner thing that you put on the head, because you could see her head, but it just wasn't coming out, and they were able to pull her out that way. So Dawn didn't need to get a C-section, and it was weird, because the baby's heads are still very malleable when they're that young. They can bend and squeak a little bit, and it's kind of interesting. I'm bringing this up also because her head was kind of weird shaped for a while, so we actually went to Dr. Ben Carson, who is running for president in the United States. Before he was running for president, he was a surgeon, and he checked Noelle out and said she was perfect and everything was fine. So that was kind of cool about that. So, and then Noelle's now perfectly, her head is perfectly normal. She has no problems, no hearing problems, nothing else. She's absolutely perfect. Noah actually was cut in half, not literally. His time was cut in half. It was like 12 hours she was in labor. Nothing. It might not even been that long. Let me see, 3:30. No, it might not even been that long. It was like 3:30. It was almost 12 hours, like 10, 11 hours. She was in labor with Noah, and it was a lot easier. But both times, epidural. She's like, just do it. It's fine. It'll be a lot easier. It is a lot easier. So.
Reaffirming my decision to not have children.
They're going to have cone-shaped heads. Well, I've also heard the horror story where women have waited too long to get the epidural, and last minute the doctors say it's too late, or women that have gotten it. I had a friend that got it too early, and it wore off by the time, that all the painful stuff was happening when he was actually coming out. And then I had another friend that got one that I guess it was too strong. It paralyzed more than just her lower half. It was her upper half, and she went into a panic attack because she couldn't feel her lungs. Like she couldn't feel herself breathing.
With Noah, Dawn was this close to missing the epidural window because what happened was Noelle's labor was so long and intensive, and we thought the same would happen with Noah, but it just got to be so intense when she started going to labor. We thought he was going to come like almost immediately, so I still had to pick up Noelle from daycare, drive from work to pick her up because she'd already gone home, and get her. And then I was going to take my daughter to, I'm going to take Noelle to my mom's house, which is like a couple blocks away from the hospital. So we were just dropping, and then we'd both go in. But because she was in such labor, I mean, it's 5 o'clock at night during the week, and I'm freaking out because it's traffic, and she's, she's doing the whole thing. She's in massively pain labor. And I'm trying to say, move, damn it, move. I'm pregnant woman. I don't want to deliver it in the car because I don't know what I'm doing. And so we went to the hospital first, and we got her out, and I left. I had to, because I didn't want to keep my daughter there. So Dawn said, just get me in the hospital. We got the nurses. She got into the wheelchair, and then they were going to take her up to the room. I was going to drop Noelle off, and then we were going to come back. And luckily, her folks were coming very quickly. So by the time I got back, her folks were up there with her. And then they were able to slow it down enough, but it was this close because we thought it was going to come quickly, but they were able to slow it down a little bit, and she almost missed her window for the epidural, but she got it in time, and everything was good. So
I guess it's like a horror story with everybody then. Everybody has their freak out moment, and then I guess they said, well, at the end, afterwards, you'll forget everything terrible you had to go through. But I don't know.
Well, they do say that there's your brain has to convert short-term memory to long-term memory, right?
Uh-huh.
And there are chemicals in your brain that can assist that, and chemicals in your brain that can prevent it, right? So when you go through traumatic events, some of the chemicals in your brain prevent that transfer from short-term to long-term memory. So pain is one of those things that can trigger the chemicals to release to prevent that transfer from short-term to long-term memory. So there is something that does prevent that transfer.
Other than counseling. Okay, so
but the reason why we're saying this, though, Amy, is we don't want to freak you out because not everything as bad is going to happen. I mean, the fact that Noah was coming so quickly, that was the only thing that really freaked me out. But the minute we got to the hospital, it was an absolutely perfect birth. There was no issues. He was coming out properly, face down. In fact, it was so cool that and it was early enough that my mom, Dawn's mom, and dad were all there when she had the baby, and in the actual room. The doctors let them stay and even assist if they wanted to in some form or another to give birth to Noah. So help give birth to Noah. So that was really kind of cool. With Noelle, it was a little bit different because it was such a long, laborious process, but they stayed. Thankfully for them, I mean, they stayed most of the time. I mean, her folks stayed most of the time. And the funny thing is, it was so weird for her folks because Dawn's sister Shannon had just had a baby literally the exact week before. So they had just gone through that before, the same thing again. It was a little bit easier because that was already a planned C-section. It was already going to get done because Dawn's sister Shannon can't have kids naturally because she has hip problems. So she has to have a C-section. So they planned it, they set it up, and it worked out fine. But the fact is, they were just there, and then a week later they have to come back and go through it again with Dawn. So that's kind of interesting. But it's interesting now. I mean, now they're both 8 years old, almost 9 years old, and they're fine. Everything's fine. I mean, nothing has affected them, anything. So don't be afraid, Amy. You're gonna be just fine.
I may video it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, everybody's horror stories ends up being the first birth, and I don't even think it's that if you really listen to what people say, it's not even that it's horrible, but if it's your first kid, you have never been in labor, watched your wife in labor, taken a baby home, looked at a baby's head, so it's all scary.
Yeah.
And then you do it, and you're like, oh, I lived through that. That's no big deal. And at 2, 3, then you're just fine.
Well, I guess one thing that I'm lucky with, my boyfriend, he actually is a nurse and works in pediatrics, and he's in the nursery a lot, and he's going to be at the hospital where I've planned to deliver. So I mean, he knows more about it than I do. He knows everything. So at least I'll have him to help me through it and
That's awesome.
Give me advice.
That's amazing. That's really handy.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. So I guess if I start, something happens and like Dylan and he has to deliver in a car, then he can, instead of trying to rush to the hospital. I at least have that going for me.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing.
Very good.
What a handy skill set.
Right?
I was just So make sure I've got 2 entering puberty now. So does that mean you're open to tweets about pediatric questions? Because I will send
Yes,
them.
yes, I am. See, he mostly
I
works.
know, my
He just
mom-
works with like babies and young children. So that's most of his experience. My experience, because I've worked in schools, is always elementary age or middle school age. So I've got the older kid experience, and he has the baby toddler experience.
Nice. So you guys got that whole thing covered then.
Maybe, hopefully, nothing usually goes as planned. I mean,
Yeah.
for you parents, I'm sure y'all know that.
Now, Brianne, you have a major life event also coming up. A lot of people might not know how it happened. Would you mind sharing your life event to everybody out there?
Yes, and there is video somewhere. I probably should put it maybe up on the YouTubes.
It's
I-
so cute.
Yeah,
I did.
yeah, so I hear upstairs because I think he knows I'm talking about it. I got engaged. My then boyfriend, now fiance, Danny, proposed to me at the Stargate convention. On stage, it was really, that's how we met. We actually met at the Stargate convention, and then you see, now I'm getting all red in the face. And then he moved from Texas for us to be together, like left Texas to Virginia, and he it is working awesome. And then we went to the Stargate Con, and he got Peter Williams, who plays Apophis, to help him, and the 2 of them interrupted the cabaret set Friday night at the convention. Like, they interrupted poor Gary Jones. He's getting ready to like do some more stand-up, and Peter just like jumped on the stage and was like, I need the microphone, and it'll be worth it. And Gary's like, what's happening? And he's looking at the people in charge of the con, and no one's going to question Peter Williams. And he's like, no, I have this. Give me the mic. And, at that point, he looks over and he's asked for Danny, and I was like, oh my God. So, they brought me on stage during the cabaret, and Danny proposed to me. And the coolest part is that Legal Creation thought it was really neat. So we are getting married as part of the last official Stargate convention next year.
Ah.
That is so exciting, and I'm so jealous. I want to be proposed at somewhere like Walker Stalker or Walker Stalker Con. I'm there, right? Or Dr. Who. And did you know that did you know that's what he was doing, or were you just kind of like, oh God?
Well, I knew he was going to ask because you had to do all the ring stuff. But I really thought that the con has like a karaoke party, and it's super late at night, the first night of the con. Most people haven't even arrived yet. So it's not even that big of a deal, and it ends up being like 25 or 30 people, and a DJ Creation pays for. So he sings and plays the guitar. So I just assumed, well, if he ends up doing it at the con, and that's why, we were talking about things, more serious stuff, he'll just go up there, sing a song, and then be like, blah, 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 which would have been super, super sweet and been, awesome as well. But I had no idea that he had, like, messaged one of the actors on Facebook. He had a plan. He was, like, I had no idea. So when they interrupt, like, part of the convention, and this room is, like, packed. It's not 20 or 30 drunk people and a DJ. It's, like, a packed room. I was like,
cool. Like, that's hardcore. Like, he's cool.
That's very cool. I would be super, super embarrassed or nervous, but excited.
Oh my God,
with all those people, I'd probably faint.
Dying. Oh my God. But that's like, I mean, seriously, you got to give that guy props. That's hardcore.
I know, right?
She's talking off this side. So did the whole audience erupt into applause like you expect, and cheers and whoots and whistles and stuff?
Yeah, it was because once they it's funny because I don't remember a lot of it except for the fact that later people were like, "Why weren't you crying?" And I was like, my heart was beating so fast I thought it was a puke. So nothing else was breathing. But once Danny gets up on the stage and he's like, "I'd like to call my girlfriend Bree on the stage," at that point, and now he's running down the hall. I'm trying to get him to come here. I think Star Wars couldn't go like that way. Once he said that, everybody in the audience kind of clued in what was happening, and then it was, like all across. And I've been sent different videos from different angles, and there's one video that was on the other side of the stage from the one Bronwyn seen, and you can actually hear the person in the video going, that dude is going to ask that girl to marry.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, I feel bad now because, you know, that's like the ultimate geek thing to do. And I proposed to Dawn at a 4th of July parade. That's what I did. Once again, one of those things that just like you, Brianne, she knew that we were going to get married. We did ring shopping, and I wanted her to pick her ring out because I'm not very good at that. I didn't want to say, okay, you know, I think she'll like this one. You know, I want her to actually pick one that she's going to like, and so she found one she liked, and then because it was very expensive, I had to do it on a payment plan, so it took me about 6 months to pay it off. But she didn't know that part of it. She didn't know how long it was going to take to pay it off. So I eventually paid it off about in June. I was like, okay, I have two options. One, I wanted to do a July 4th parade, or I was going to do it on our vacation in August down at the ocean. So it was one of those two. I said, you know what? I think she might expect it in August, because by then, you know, she should know that I've been paying pretty regularly and stuff like that. And so I said, let's do a July 4th parade. And I'll get into my story in a second, but there's somebody behind Brianne's back there. Let's see this gentleman. Danny, man of the hour. Let's give him applause, everybody.
Hello.
The one who asked me, yeah.
We're
Best
pretty freaked
best
out.
fiance ever.
Making every other geek guy look bad.
Right?
Everybody at the show.
That was pretty amazing.
Fantastic. Welcome to my show, Danny. It's nice to finally meet you. I'm Dylan. We got Amy. We got Bronwyn. Say hi, everybody, to the coolest guy in the world.
Hi. Best fiance ever.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
This reminds me, actually, when I first sort of brought my boyfriend home to meet my family, he'd only met them a couple of times. He came home for Christmas, and he bought me a star. And all my brother and my sister's boyfriend and everything, they were like, a star? Seriously?
Like a star where you can name it? Is that what you're talking about? Where you get like a
and had
frame
his chart and the whole thing, and it's officially done in Switzerland, and this whole like. And so they were really, really mad at him because how are they ever gonna kind of live up to that? Well, this you kind of, that's you now, man, like that.
But that's in a good way, Danny. It's in an absolutely good way.
You upped the game for everybody else, right? Like, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, all I did was the night before, Dawn was at a bowling event or something with her work, and so she was drinking heavily just because it's 4th of July. I'm going to have the day off. I can rest. I can sleep in a little bit, and then we'll go to my family's 4th of July party. And meanwhile, I had already set this up, and I was going to be there with my mom and my stepdad, and I'd already told them this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to propose to her in the 4th of July parade, and there's okay, that'll be cool. So 4th of July morning, wakes up, she's hungover. She's in pain. Her head hurts. She's nauseous. She's like, I don't know if I'm able to make it to the parade. And I was like, all right. And says, okay, I started recalculating. I was like, okay, I can do it in front of my family at my family's 4th of July party. That'll work out too. It won't be quite as cool as parade, but it'll be something. It'll be the whole family will be there, and everybody will be able to see there and congratulate, stuff like that. So I say, okay, but I take my ring just in case, because she said I might make it. We'll see. So I leave, and I meet up with my mom and my stepdad. I was like, I don't think she's going to make it. And so we get to our location, and then very soon afterwards, and we told her where we were going to be, I see her walking down, and she said, I felt so guilty, after you left, I got up, and I took a shower, and I came over. I was like, oh, you really didn't have to, it was okay. But I was like, yes, now this is going to be perfect. So after about an hour in or whatever, there was this marching band played bagpipes. It was a bagpipe band. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it at this point. So after they passed, I got down on my knee, and I said, Dawn. And she turns and looks at me, and I said, I have a question for you. And I go, will you marry me? And she says, I hate you. And then she says yes.
She would say that.
So gave her the ring, gave her a kiss, and the
Aw.
coolest thing was there was an older guy sitting off to the side, came up to Dawn and said, "I bet you're going to go to every parade he asks you to from now on, aren't you?"
Oh, yeah, I know. You'll have a different gift or a big surprise every time. Dawn, I bought you a new car. And it's like coming down the parade.
It's coming down the parade right now.
That's hilarious. That's
That is
awesome.
great.
Well,
I love that you guilted her into coming to her own engagement. Like,
well, I've got a funny story similar to that. Right before we started the show and came on here, I was telling Pat, my boyfriend, I was telling about who was going to be on here. I mentioned Bronwyn a lot to him. And he knows who you are, Dylan. And I said, yeah, Brianne's going to be there. And she just got engaged. And I said, her fiance proposed to her at Stargate Con, like on stage and everything. That's pretty much all I knew. I said, but how awesome is that? Well, about 6 months ago, me and Pat went, before I even got pregnant, we went ring shopping. He got the ring, so I know that he has it in this house. Okay? And I said, and that was 6 months ago, and I'm thinking, when he got it, then that means, the next week or 2 weeks or, 4th of July or something, we're going to be, he'll propose to me. And when I was telling about Brianne today, I said, yeah, I guess you must be planning something really extravagant since I haven't gotten the ring yet. and he just sat there. I was like, or not. He must be waiting until we're somewhere like Brianne, so he can do it at some kind of
Or
con.
when you're about ready to give birth. There you go.
Yeah, or that. Or that.
Here's a baby. Here's my baby, by the way.
When my fingers are too swollen for it to even fit, and I have to wear it as a pinky ring.
baby in one hand, ring in the other.
Yeah.
Well, Christmas is coming, so.
Yeah. Well, I've lost so much weight that I've lost probably like 20 pounds, 15, 20 pounds in the first 3 months that all my other rings were falling off. I've just started to be able to wear a couple of them, so I was glad that he hadn't. I guess I was glad he hadn't given me one because I wouldn't be able to wear it. But yeah, I'd love it if he planned something like that, like Brianne.
Danny, message him.
I'm going to message him about pediatric questions.
There you go.
So we're good.
Yay.
It's all about networking.
Our friend John McGevna, it's his birthday today, so happy birthday, John, out there. He sends probably one of the greatest tweets ever, and I'm going to read it right now, and it's directed at you, Amy. John McGevna says, how about Amy live YouTube's The Delivery?
Oh,
We can make lots of snarky comments to distract her from what's happening, and no epidural.
oh my gosh. Have you guys ever had friends, or I guess Brianne and Dylan, did y'all video the delivery?
Oh,
No.
God, no.
I have a friend, the same friend that told me not to get an epidural that's all natural. She had her first kid probably like 11 years ago. And it was after, like a year after we got out of high school, she videoed the whole thing. And when I went over to her house one day, she goes, you've got to watch this. And I was thinking it was going to be her wedding video. It was the birth.
Oh, no.
It was, yes, and she put it in. And she's like, well, look, and I didn't want to offend her, because we were best friends. I was the godmother to her son. She's like, look at this part. Watch how amazing this is. And I'm just like, like, I said, I don't even want pictures taken. My mom's like, yes, it'd be great if we videoed it. Oh, we've got to have pictures. And I'm like, no. There's going to be nothing in there that takes pictures of me or my vagina or anything.
Nope. Never.
Now, Danny, are you ever involved in anything like that? With are you you're not, because you're more pediatrics, you're more after they're out. Have you ever been involved in a birth or anything like that?
That's him.
Never.
Wrong boyfriend.
No.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry, Danny. That's right. Oh, jeez. How embarrassing. So I'll let you have it.
I just got it.
Sorry, Pat. I'm sorry, Pat. Sorry. I'm trying to get Danny involved somehow, and I can't think of what to do.
Well, it took me a minute to catch on. For a second, did y'all notice? I was like,
Oh,
oh,
you're now making him go. Oh, come on, Danny. No, don't leave. See, now I'm getting red in the face. Thanks. I'm so embarrassed. Oh, my
Danny's
God.
an
You guys with My Little Ponies as the Guardians of the Galaxy
oh my God, jealous.
by Agnes Garboska. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
There you go.
Oh, I
Right.
love that.
Isn't it fantastic? And also, there's this little guy over here. I don't know if you can see. I'll try and get it all nice and close. This is a hand-painted original Catwoman stealing the TARDIS from the Doctor.
Oh my God, how cute!
Oh my God! Where'd you get that?
I got this one from Katie Cook at New York Comic Con. She did it. She did in like 2 seconds. She does all these like original 5-minute watercolor paintings. It's incredible. I have a little collection of them by her, and you give her an idea and she paints it for you. It's amazing.
That is awesome.
Yeah, she's
really
super cool.
Your Comic-Con pictures, I looked at some of them. Didn't you cosplay you, who were you?
I was
who did
Thor,
you do?
and
Thor, yeah, Thor.
Best
Yeah.
friend Jill was Loki. It was awesome.
I didn't see him Loki. I didn't see him as Loki.
Oh no, she was amazing. So she went as Lady Loki and I was Lady Thor, and yeah, it was awesome. We got stopped like 1,000 times for some for questions and pictures and all sorts of things. And actually, I'll post a link maybe after this. But Steve did the best of cosplay photos and video on JoBlo.com, and I'm in both. So there's a little video of Jill and I together, and one of me with just me with my hammer in the video, which is pretty cool. And
Yeah, that's
some photos
cool.
of us. And, yeah, it's awesome. So it was cool. The cosplay there was insane. It was so good. There were all these and some of the family cosplay. That's like my favorite thing. I was chasing all over for 4 days, looking at all these little like families in cosplay. It was just little kids and their parents dressing up, and like I chased this little guy. He was so cute, little tiny Dr. Horrible. Oh my God, I was dying.
Like literally chasing after kids, taking pictures.
Well, so okay, so there was this tiny, and he was so perfect. He was this little miniature Dr. Horrible, and he ran past in Artist Alley, and I was dying. I was like, oh my God, I just got cuted unto death. And and his parents were Penny and Captain Hammer, and they just sort of were following behind him. And I was just like, oh my God, I love you so much. What happened? That kid is so cute. I'm like, can we take his picture? And she says, if you can catch him. So we kind of ran up after him, all 4 of us, Steve and I and his parents, and we're like, can we take your picture? And he can't have been like more than like 3. Like he was tiny. And so he like grabbed his parents and he pulled them down, and they all posed, and so we took a picture, and then they got up to and he's not ready yet. So we pulled them back down, and we had to take more pictures.
Now,
so
Brianne, at Stargate Con, do they have a lot of cosplayers there too?
Yeah, they do. It's most of the people just dress up in like the Stargate BDUs or whatever, whether it's SG-1 or Atlantis, but they've got a costume contest, so a lot of people do different stuff. Actually, Danny won 2nd place this year in the costume contest. He's an artist, like that's actually why he ran upstairs. He's not like really ditching us. He has the people that ordered some custom action figures, and he's like, I need to paint and do the final coat. So he's back upstairs, and I hear all that. But he had made a Jaffa costume, and he won 2nd place this year. But there was a girl that did the Nox, and she won 1st. And I mean, it floored me anyway, seeing what these people come up with, because most of the people that win the costume contest are not. And if you're going to Stargate Con this year and you're watching people, listen to me. You don't win for SG-1, Atlantis, or Hathor, ever. Everybody does it, and there's like 50 of them on the stage. But it's really cool. People will pick like the Nox, and I'm a terrible Stargate fan and try not to yell upstairs to ask him, but There's a episode where it's just like a one-episode alien, and somebody had the fish gills on the face, and it's amazing. And they will do this makeup in the bathroom of their hotel room and come downstairs, and it's just, it absolutely floors me. And this year they had, they had some really, really good ones that did the different aliens with the makeup. And a wraith. The wraith was cool. There was a wraith mom and daughter. They were blue and had all the things in the face, and it was awesome. So it's cool. It's obviously specific cosplay, but I love it.
Yeah. Cosplay's impressive.
Is your wedding going to be themed anything similar to that? You know, like cake toppers or anything?
Well, what we finally decided to do is, just because of the convention schedule and whatnot, we're just doing the ceremony at the con, and then we're gonna have a crazy like throwdown at the house. So we are gonna get a Stargate cake though, and kind of just have it at the con for everybody.
Awesome.
But oh yeah, that's right. And Danny's building an archway. He's actually building a Stargate.
Wow.
Under the gate, and we're going to be dressed. So I write a Stargate fan fiction where I had Daniel Jackson. I actually made a character that I thought was kind of better suited for the character instead of the direction that they went and then undid because they realized it was a bad idea. And it's a really long fan fiction, and they actually eventually, after like 100 chapters, get married. So we are wearing pretty much what they wore in my fanfic.
Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to see pictures or videos or whatever.
I know, I'm dying. So
that's the next Stargate con, so what date is it then?
They've actually moved it from normally when it was in August, so it's September 23, 24, and 25 in Chicago at the Westin O'Hare in Rosemont. So we are getting married on the 24th. They have told us we will be included in the schedule for the Saturday, and we had to send a blurb and pictures, and we will be on the website when tickets go live.
That is so
exciting.
Cool.
You're like famous geeks. Famous geeks.
That's so awesome. Yeah, fantastic. Now, Bronwyn, just switching gears a little bit. So back to New York Comic Con. Blood Rave, would you mind explaining all that about?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So we we went to well, I don't know if everybody probably has seen the movie Blade with Wesley Snipes. Yeah, the original, like 1998. I love that movie, like unapologetically, unironically. I love that movie. It's just so much fun. And the 90s and the rave and when everything was cool and everybody in black and very goth and industrial, and Crystal Method headlining that show when all the blood comes out of the oh my god, the fire.
The fire, I know, the water that fire out.
Sprinklers, yay!
Yeah, sprinklers. There you go.
Oh, and all the humans that are sitting there, all of a sudden, oh god, what is happening? And they become food, and all the crazy vampires start dancing, and everything is awesome. And well, they decided at New York Comic Con on the Friday night that this was something that they were going to recreate. And so, yeah, they actually, Crystal Method headlined, actually had a concert at one of the venues not too far from Javits Center, and so they had a bunch of different things come up before Crystal Method went on stage, and then the Crystal Method started playing, and it was awesome because it was like music out of the 90s, and they played for quite some time, and everybody dancing on the floor, but they also had people recreating scenes from the movie on stage, and actors coming in to play the different roles, and they had a dance troupe come in and do some of the choreographed dancing, and it was very cool. So then they had a pit in the middle with people dancing in front of the stage with Crystal Method, and then we were up around the kind of balcony area, and they actually had blood rain.
Nice.
Like they actually recreated the blood rain. So everybody in the pit just got covered. Yeah.
Were their
So
clothes
jealous.
ruined? Was it
Well, yeah,
washable blood?
I mean, you knew what you were getting into when you went, right? So
Okay.
I wore a lot of black, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, it went right down to that. They played that song from the movie and everything, and yeah, they had people going around through and had like big spray nozzles and just rained blood down on the whole pit of everybody dancing in front of the Crystal Method playing this song, and everybody up on stage dancing and recreating the scenes with Blade and La Magra coming down, and so it was pretty intense. It was amazing. They played scenes out of the movie on this big screen behind them too, so you could hear, you're watching Wesley Snipes kick ass, listening to Crystal Method play like in person, and yeah, watching everybody get soaked in blood, and
I'm so jealous.
it was pretty amazing. It was like my happy place back in the 90s where dancing was actually dancing and not just at a meat market to pick up, And
Well, when you watch those type of movies, I don't know about you guys, but when you see stuff like that, I always like I remember raves from back in the day. Like you always, but they were nowhere near as cool as the movie type raves and clubs. And you're like, man, if this would happen in real life, this would be so cool. I'd be so sexy and like so so hot. But it's like nothing like that in real life. People are just tripping balls and like eating candy and like that's all. I was like, can I just have a blood rave?
Tripping balls and eating candy. Great band name. So real quick,
drinking water.
To get on the same topic of Geek Shower now, Amy, you've been going back and forth about things you might do for the baby's room. Have you settled on a geeky sort of pattern, and do you want to reveal it, or do you want to wait? Or
Well, yeah, I'll reveal it. The only thing that I'm not going to reveal right away is probably the name, but I will probably tell you guys, but not certain family members and friends, because everybody's really kind of like, oh, well, what about this? What about that? How is he going to spell it?
But it's Cage fan.
Cage. Yeah, but Dylan's already named him Cage because that's a quarterback name. He's going to play for Alabama. But for the baby room, actually, I think we're going to do a combination of everything. Like like Doctor Who, Star Wars, Avengers, whatever we can find, because I want it to be stuff that he can grow into also, things that'll be cool enough to stay in there for a while. Like I saw those, I don't know if anybody saw the Doctor Who, like little TARDIS lights. I don't want to do the typical, night lights or the typical lamp for when we're like reading bedtime stories or whatever, put something like that. I also saw some Star Wars little decoration lights too that were, I think they're R2-D2. I want to get, so I just want to get a combination of everything, whatever I can find. The sad thing is that a lot of it you would have to make by hand because especially with the Doctor Who stuff, they don't, sell a lot of stuff like that. I mean, yeah, they have like the Funkos and other things like that, like some stuffed animals, but the stuff that I want you have to actually make, which will be fine. I saw a Star Wars mobile, a little mobile. Is that what you call it, mobile?
Yeah.
Goes and plays music or whatever. Yeah. And I saw a Star Wars one, and it was one that somebody had made with like felt material. So anybody out there that's a good sewer, I can sew up holes in jeans, but anybody that can make stuff like that. So I think just a combination of everything. We're not going to focus on one thing, but the baby shower is for sure going to be Star Wars, like Star Wars baby though, not the big boy Star Wars, because that might be, kind of scary. Yeah. Just more of little baby Star Wars. Have y'all ever seen that? It's like more pastels and stuff. So I'm excited. I'm really excited.
I looked all over Comic-Con for a Doctor Who onesie for you.
Yeah.
I did finally find one, but it was too scary. I couldn't buy it.
Oh, what was it? What was it?
It It was from the like 2005 season with Christopher Eccleston, and it had that picture of the gas mask and said, "Are you my mummy?"
Oh my god! Well,
Surprised my kids. That's like the worst one.
Oh my god, I was so tempted because it was awesome, but it was so terrifying I couldn't do it. I was just like, oh my god. Oh, oh my god.
Thank you. I love you for thinking of me. Pat's a big Doctor Who fan too, and he's been looking online, and a lot of the onesies look like they've been made. You know, like somebody has made a stamp and stamped on like the TARDIS or something. But there's a book that just came out, and it's only in the UK. It's a I think y'all saw me post it on Twitter. It's nursery rhymes or bedtime stories. It says Doctor Who, Time Lord, bedtime stories. And they don't have any inserts from the book online for us to read. So I went to Barnes & Noble. They didn't have it. But I'm scared to order it because I don't know if it's going to be like, you know, Weeping Angels, Are You My Mummy type stories. You know, stuff like that I'm reading the kid at bedtime. And he's, you know, petrified. Because some of that stuff is scary. You know, for a little kid.
You know, whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, I have literally been watching Doctor Who since I was in utero. So.
And you turned out just fine.
Well,
So.
you know, I mean, whether you think so or not, this is how I turned out. So. And I'm still inking Doctor Who on my body. So.
Oh, let me see. Is that the tattoo that you had picked out? Yeah. Oh, I haven't seen it yet. I love that. Yeah. I love that.
Gallifreyan on there.
Oh, wow.
Did you see it okay?
Yeah, that's awesome.
I liked it. It turned out pretty well.
I like the background. See, you know the cradle they have on Doctor Who that has that?
Yeah.
Like etched in the side. Oh, I'd love if I could find something like that, but
I know, right?
that'd probably be so uncomfortable for a baby though. The little the cradle, a little wooden cradle like that.
Probably.
Yeah.
So, Brianne, are you going to have some sort of engagement party then also with your family or whatever?
I haven't, that I guess I haven't decided. I'm not really close to my family because I'm kind of like I'm the weird black sheep who actually like went to school and works a job that they don't change every 3 months. And yeah, like I don't really fit in. I don't talk to a lot of them. So I've got a couple of friends around here, and they're talking about doing stuff. And you know, we have a geeky friend couple, and they're like, maybe we'll do something. But a lot of my friends live kind of all over the country because I met them at conventions, or most of the people I grew up with and I went to college with, I was really close to, couldn't find jobs in this area. So they've moved all over the U.S., but we still get together, like, you know, and talk all the time. So I'm not planning anything, but they keep asking me leading questions. Like they made us do an Amazon registry, which, by the way, has among the things we've registered for, it is a $2,000 life-size Velociraptor. Because we want our yard to be Jurassic Park. But anyway.
That is hysterical.
Every married couple needs one. So.
See, I don't know if anybody else here besides me reads XKCD, but it's one of my favorite webcomics that I've been reading for like a bazillion years. But we actually went to there was okay, so XKCD is like super nerdy. Like this is me really showing my nerd side because wait, Brianne. Because back in like 2007, something along those lines, XKCD put out a comic where he embedded a series of coordinates and a date and time in a webcomic, and my best friend and I planned a trip to go to those coordinates at that date and time just to see what happens. Yeah, so we did, and it was awesome, and there were like 1,000 people there, and it was a park in North Cambridge, and like dude flew in from Russia, and it was awesome, and so I don't know if you guys know this, but the XKCD Randall Munro is he's like loves the original Jurassic Park and everything, but deathly afraid of raptors, right? Because they're scary, and so we actually made like pins and stuff like that for ourselves and to give away to people at this at this sort of meetup, because it wasn't a convention, it wasn't anything planned, it was literally a park in Boston, you know, and, and one of them was raptor free since 1977. So there will be no raptors in my yard.
Is Brienne zen?
She's very zen.
I noticed that. Is she asleep or?
Oh, there she goes.
there
Like,
she
so you're
goes.
frozen. But just look at it this way, you know, Brienne, if you do get that, you can have the life-size Velociraptor coming out of the Stargate that Danny's making.
Anthony, that's a great idea.
See, I got it right this time. Yes.
That is awesome.
That would be awesome. That would be really cool.
That would be really cool.
So actually, that was a good discussion that we had. Now, just real quick, I asked you briefly if usually when we do international, we do a rant first, but we just went right into the show because we had a lot to talk about. I'll get everybody else's little rants that they have, but I just want to do mine real quick because it's just a little minor one, and you kind of reminded me a little bit of it, Bronwyn, when you were talking about the blood rave. Is that last night we were watching the sci-fi movie The Hollow, and Amy might have seen my my tweets.
Yeah.
There was a commercial for 3 Olives vodka. Now, it was a guy coming in, and he's asking for a martini and all this stuff. Make sure it's with 3 olives, And he turns around, and you can hear in the background they're playing. Well, actually, I'll get to that in a second. He turns around, and then he sees this sultry woman looking at him, like, it's about time, or can you come over here, or whatever. And he grins, and he's got vampire fangs. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's a vampire, drinks vodka martinis. The bar is playing Werewolf in London in the background. It's like, are you kidding me? He's a werewolf. No, he's a vampire. He's not a werewolf. There's probably other vampire songs you can think of. Or why did you pick that specific song to play in a commercial where a vampire is headlining it? You could have played some other type of music in the background, but they chose Werewolf in London. It was like, why are you doing that? And then I watched it again. It pissed me off again because they showed it like 2 or 3 times. I was like, come on, man. He's a vampire. He's not a werewolf. I started thinking maybe the woman's a werewolf. And then it's like, well, then they didn't really explain it. She's just leaning against, like, oh, I want to have you suck my blood, that type of thing, That's a commercial, but it's like, come on, man. I know it's Halloween and all that stuff, but he's a vampire. You don't play Werewolf in London when a vampire is in your commercial. So that's my little mini rant going on there. Amy, you said you had something, or actually, we'll do some real quick.
Yeah, it's not anything, I guess. It's more of like a personal thing, a rant about being sick all the time. And yeah, I just want to be able to eat an entire meal and not feel sick. And I guess like the rant is people like, oh, well, I was only sick for a month. It'll go away at 3 months. It'll go away, eventually. Oh, it's not that bad. And I'm like, I've lost 20 pounds, guys. Like, I'm miserable not being able to eat. And I guess part of the rant is the doctor saying, oh, well, don't worry, it's fine. I'm like, no, I don't think it's okay that I'm sick all the time. I just want to be fat. Not usually, people usually don't say that, but I just want to be able to eat. And the vitamins, they make you take all these vitamins, and I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure this is what's making me sick. No, it's not. It's not it's not. I think Brianne's on mute, too. Brianne, are you on mute?
No, can you not hear me though?
Okay, yeah, I hear you now. Okay. Wait, it is on mute again. Do y'all see that?
Yeah, I don't know why the microphone symbol's coming up because I can hear her okay, but
weird.
Okay, now I hear you. All right, yeah. They said that the vitamin, don't worry, it's not the vitamins, but then every single person that's ever taken the vitamins say, yep, it's the vitamins.
Yeah.
You're right.
Brianne, did you say you had one too?
Yeah, I have had, you guys know I'm a teacher. I'm a virtual teacher right now, and I've got middle and high school kids. And I've had an amazing school year, and the students are like, I guess online learning now, it's been around long enough where the kids are like figuring it out and how to do it. So I'm always on Facebook. Most of my Facebook is like, here's something crazy Danny and I, the kids, did. or here's something educational because I'm obsessed with my career. Because I am. Like, here's a research I read. And lately, there's just been like a surgence of people on social media posting these stupid memes that's like, I went through another day and I didn't use math. Or like, it'll have this whole thing, and it's like, list the things you learned in school, Pythagorean theorem, the scientific method, and all this, and like, list of things you don't learn in school but should have, how to balance a checkbook, call the plumber. And I've reached the point where I've started calling these people out, and I'm like, no, school is supposed to teach you reading, writing, arithmetic, and all the other elective stuff. Your mama's supposed to teach you how to balance a checkbook.
Seriously.
I see those too.
School teaches you math. Your parents teach you how to apply it to a checkbook. Oh my God.
Yes, and it's a thing now. When like these people go these rants like schools should be teaching these kids how to cook their dinner. I'm like, no, they should not.
It's common fucking sense. For you
so
to know
uncommon.
that.
So uncommon right now.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It just drives me crazy. So every time I'm like, no, just I can't take it anymore. So I'm going to start coming up with something snarky to say, like, we have to do all this other crap. Because in a school day, what I'm expected to go through just online is insane. And I couldn't imagine, like, oh, and on top of that, make sure they know how to do a good tuna casserole.
Make sure they know how to vacuum and clean their home.
Well, you know what? BuzzFeed is good for recipes. Go to BuzzFeed. You know?
I love BuzzFeed.
I know, right? Okay, no, you know what? I do have a rant, Dylan.
Okay.
I do have one. Sorry, it's along these lines too. It's not exactly the same, Brianne, but it's along these lines. I posted something on Facebook recently. It was a picture, and it was about how there's a lot of people out there who are very concerned about chemicals and have very little understanding of basic chemistry. Yes. So this, as a chemist, is something that really bugs me. Is the poor and limited and downright frustrating use of the word chemical. Mm-hmm. Like, in conjunction with the use of the word natural.
Like pollen, for example, is not a chemical.
Okay, so I would just like to get it out there, you know, for the world to understand. The word natural does not mean good. The word chemical does not mean bad. The word natural does not mean chemical-free in any stretch of the imagination. And wow, does the word natural does not mean that there is no drug interaction. So, if you're taking something that is natural, it does not mean that it's not going to hurt you.
Like marijuana.
Yeah.
But that also has chemicals.
Natural. It doesn't mean that it is not going to interact with things that you are also taking. So, for example, all of my lady friends out there, if you are on birth control pills, good on you for taking control of your life, if that's what you want. Do not take St. John's wort. Ever. Do not take St. John's wort if you are on birth control pills, because it reduces the efficacy by a significant, statistically valid.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I've never heard that.
Yes, it does. Yeah, there's a significant drug interaction between St. John's wort and birth control pills.
Wow.
Yeah, things that you need to know that nobody's going to tell you because
the
it's
doctors
natural.
don't tell you.
They should teach
lots
that.
of doctors don't even know that. But your pharmacist should.
Yeah, they should teach that in school.
Okay? You know, things you need to talk to your pharmacist about when you get a prescription. That you should be talking to your pharmacist about every single time you want to get something natural. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you're drinking grapefruit juice, talk to your pharmacist about every drug you are taking.
What happens when that okay, because on my prescriptions it'll say do not take within an hour of drinking grapefruit juice or something like that, or do not take grapefruit juice while you're taking this medication. I've always wondered what happened, and I've always kind of wanted to try it. Like, well, I just want to see what's going to happen.
Well, grapefruit has serious drug interactions in a couple of ways. There are certain heart medications that grapefruit actually increases the efficacy by a really significant portion, and some drugs that grapefruit actually negates. So like some of those things, like, it's weird. It could be the pH, it could just be the acidity, but it could also be some of the chemicals that are actually in grapefruit. Like, so if you look on my Facebook, it's interesting. A friend of mine, Andreas, he's the science fellow over at Lucy's Football. He's a really, really intelligent man. He is a very, very interesting guy, and if you ever want to go and learn some stuff, read his blog, because he's really, really, really interesting and very well educated. He posted a really neat thing on my picture of this rant I have about chemicals, where somebody has actually broken down the chemical components in a banana. Because we all think of banana as very, very natural. Well, and this is another rant for another day, but GMOs. If you want to talk about a GMO, let's talk about the banana, okay? Because, wow, banana, not natural at all. Ever. No. But, anyway, regardless, a banana, if you break it down, is full of all sorts of things that nobody can pronounce. Whether or not you can pronounce a thing does not mean it's not natural, doesn't mean that it's not good for you, doesn't mean any of those things. A banana is full of all sorts of vitamins and minerals that nobody can pronounce. And it's really interesting to look at the list of all the things that are in a banana, and recognize a lot of things that you'll see on an ingredients list that will scare people away from eating things that are otherwise good for you because they look like they're full of chemicals. So
is it safe that I eat a banana every morning?
Yes.
Because I've been doing that. Okay.
Bananas are wonderful for you, unless you are actually, like, if you're concerned about anything like this, talk to your doctor, talk to your pharmacist. But there are things out there that you shouldn't eat with other things. But it is, and pharmacists are really well educated about stuff like this. Pharmacist is a great resource. But if you're taking supplements and prescription drugs, talk to your pharmacist. Because better to be armed with more knowledge than less.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for bringing that up. That's a good rant.
Thank you.
So, you know,
and it makes the show seem smarter.
It does. I know, and Dylan in his tie and everything. It feels so fancy this morning.
Me and my sugar skulls.
Real quick, Amy, one of my friends, Gary, who I go from work and he follows us, he's watching the show, he said they might have the Star Wars type stickers as fat heads you can stick on the wall also. So you've got more type of fat heads like that. You can stick those up on walls. Those are always kind of. We got a couple for Noah as well and Noel. So they come in all sizes. They're not just the big giant ones you always see. There's the small ones and stuff like that. And they're kind of nice too.
Thank you, Gary.
Now, did any of you, getting back to the rant I think Brianne had about, I didn't learn math, I learned math, but I don't use it now. Why am I learning all this other stuff? Now, did any of you have to take home economics?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a requirement in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in my schools.
Do you know if they still do that? Because that and like metal shop are like the ones that I remember the most. Not just metal shop, but it was like, you had to do metal and wood and drafting,
like that. Vocational, I think that's what they call it now, vocational.
Like, do you know if they still do that?
It varies by school system. Right now, the current trend is those sorts of classes are, they say that students are no longer tracked, but most school systems, here we go into my crazy, most school systems in the United States still do some sort of tracking, but instead of tracking where the students are, it's predetermined what course schedule they should be following, the students self-select themselves into it. So if you are college-bound, you are steered away from those sort of courses. If you are technical bound, you are steered into those courses. And then there's different levels of courses within the college bound and the technical bound. Which sounds great. If you want to do this, you have these opportunities. If you want to do that, you have those. The problem is that the college-bound kids are quite often discouraged from taking any vocational classes at all, even if they just want to take one for fun, because it looks bad on a college application. And it really only looks bad with a certain number of schools, because most colleges will be like, well, that's pretty neat. Like, you just randomly took shop and then, entered this. So, but they're
like that kind of diversity.
Absolutely, but that information doesn't seem to have like permeated K-12 yet. So they have them. They're not required at all. But if you're this kid in the vocational track, most states' diplomas require 6 electives. And what they do for those vocational kids is to get into your vo-tech school, they recommend that the 6 electives are like Metal Shop 1, Metal Shop 2, Metal Shop 3, so it looks like you worked your way through the program, and then you're ready to go into vocational engineering school or whatever. So it's really crazy complicated, but nobody's made to do it, and some schools have cut it because they can't make national standards and Common Core and whatnot, so all the kids do as their electives or go to training labs for math and reading, which sucks.
Do they, like, I know some of those classes count, like, AP classes, if y'all took those in high school, and then even, like, some of our foreign languages, those would count as college electives, like, or half of one, if we took them, like, in 11th and 12th grade. But, like, the vocational thing, like, let's say it's classes, we just had a new technical school built that does that has, like, wood shop and they even have cosmetology and stuff like that. But do any of those, like, count for, do they get any college credits for stuff like that or anything? Like, if they take it, then they decide, oh, I don't want to be a cosmetologist anymore after spending 2 years in high school doing it,
It's kind of weird because some of the vocational programs partnered with community colleges. So in 11th and 12th grade, they're considered 11th and 12th graders and community college students.
Yeah.
So anything that's dual like that, they can get the college credit for. But if it's just general cosmetology or whatever, no, they don't get any credit. But you don't automatically get it for AP and foreign language anymore. You have to actually take a test. And sometimes they don't even take your AP score. The college is like, okay, well, that's great. You did this on the AP, but now you have to take our placement test to prove you can do it again, and then we'll give you the credit for it.
Oh, well, I guess that's better anyways.
You guys are speaking a foreign language to me.
But that's a good question, though. I mean, like, those classes were so much fun, though, and it's sad that they're not doing them as much anymore, or that it's not like a requirement. Like, we had medical professions where we would get to wear scrubs and go to the hospital, and like 11th and 12th grade, it was really. I mean, we didn't get to see like surgeries or anything like that, but I mean, it was pretty cool, and that's sad that they don't do those anymore. Home ec, teaching you how to cook. Maybe back in the day, schools did used to teach you stuff like that. Nowadays, they just don't do it.
So then, Bronwyn, then, is it different in university up in Canada then?
It's a little different, yeah. I mean, and also because I'm old, it was different for me than it is now too. When I was going through high school, there were 5 years of high school for me. So it was 4 years of core high school, and then a 5th year called like an Ontario academic credit. So it was like a prep year for university. So I got a year, and I also, my high school was a bit funny. I did personalized education for my first year of high school, so I got, well, I mean, I guess if you had to do like a certain number of credits, I got maybe 10 or 15 extra credits.
Wow.
That then I needed for high school, just because I could do, in personalized education, I did like, so, if you have grade 9 and you do all your classes for grade 9, I did my classes, like my core classes for grade 9 in about the first couple of months of grade 9, and then I had free time for the rest of it, so then I could do other things. And so I could audit other classes, so I could, go to photography, and there's a photography lab in my high school where the photography students could show their work at a local museum, and my high school was out in the middle of nowhere, so there was 77 acres of wetland and forest and no houses, no nothing. And so there was, everybody was bussed in. And, so there was quite a drama program, and there's quite an art program, and quite an outdoor and environmental education program. And so we did a lot of hiking. There was a climbing gym in a climbing wall in our gym and a dance studio and a weight room and stuff like that. Like so it's kind of a neat high school. So
That's very neat. I want to
Yeah,
move to Canada so my son can do rock climbing.
Well, and we went down to the States a little for some of our things. Like, so we climbed Mount Marcy when I was in high school, and we did some canoeing and stuff like that up in Algonquin Park and things like that. Although I have to be honest, we did some caving in Quebec and things like that when I was in high school, and I just watched The Descent 1 and 2 on Friday night, so that probably is I'm not going to do much caving in the future, I don't think. But
that movie's pretty creepy.
Yeah, that was good and scary. I hadn't seen that before, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to do that again. It was not my experience caving, and I'm pretty grateful for it, but...
It was kind of like a blood rave at the in a part of that movie, when she's in the blood.
Yeah.
The blood kind of like, but just like a really sucky blood rave.
Yeah, I had more fun at mine, I think. I had drinks and dancing and the crystal method and
Every time you say that, I keep thinking she's going to say crystal meth, and I'm like, oh. Like, Bronwyn, I did not know this about you.
No, you know what? My brain's messed up enough.
I thought that was only like a redneck drug in the southern. We have a place in Alabama called Meth Mountain because there's so many meth addicts and like meth labs there, and they actually did a special on like Discovery Channel or something. Yeah, it's called Meth Mountain.
Oh no.
Yeah, pretty proud of it,
This is not to say that Canada doesn't have rednecks. We do.
Yeah, I've seen some people. I've seen there's a couple people that I follow on Twitter. I forgot their names, but they live in Canada, and I see that they're always like farming and talking about like their cowboy boots, their shit kickers. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, wow, Canadian rednecks.
No, we totally have. Absolutely. We have them all across the country. Like, there's different areas of redneck, too. Like, we have, up in the Ottawa Valley where I grew up, we have our own brand. And then, out west where there's, like, a lot of farming and agriculture where it's super flat in the prairies and stuff like that. Like, there's the whole, like, Calgary Stampede, and, like, that's a huge thing out there. So that's, that we have our own. It may be a little different, but we've got our own, so.
I don't feel so bad now.
I don't think we have Meth Mountain per se, but in all fairness,
it sounds like a theme park.
The number one hash crop out of BC is probably marijuana. So I mean,
like the slogan for Meth Mountain: "Are you tired of having all of your teeth?" Like, cut down on your dental bills, or your toothpaste usage. Come to Meth Mountain.
Come to Meth Mountain.
Do you need to drop 50 pounds in a week?
Where we have summer teeth, some are here, some are there.
Was Breaking Bad your favorite TV show? Now come down to Meth Mountain and relive it.
I know. You tell people you work in a lab, and everybody's like, "Ooh, Breaking Bad." I'm like, yeah.
Or not. That's hilarious.
So this week is Halloween week. Are you all getting dressed up or doing Halloween stuff? Anything like that, guys, ladies?
Oh yeah, I'm hoping.
Yeah. You got plans this weekend, Bronwyn?
Well, I'm going to pick up Steve on Friday night, and then we're going to do a night in Niagara Falls and probably see what Clifton Hill has to offer. Yeah, so that'll be fun. Oh, Brianne, I can't hear you.
No, I just said I love Clifton Hill. I love that whole Niagara area. It's so much fun.
It's fun, right? You and Danny should come up and meet us.
Yeah, we've got the kids, and we've got a couple years left before Will is either too old or too cool for life to trick or treat. So we will be trick or treating all in costume.
So yeah, Brianne, you said before you're like sort of in not rural, but you're sort of. How does the trick or treating work? Do you go somewhere else, or is there enough in your area that you can get a good haul in?
Oh no, our closest house is a quarter of a mile away, and then the next one's quarter of a mile. So yeah, we drive into. There's a I live near Ashland, which has like railroad tracks going through it. It's this really adorable railroad town, and there's really nice neighborhoods around there. So we usually go and park in the parking lot for my favorite antique store. They have trick-or-treating there, and we start there because they are the cutest couple, and then we just walk around the neighborhoods and up and down the tracks. And it's really neat because it's got these cute little quaint shops. They're all over for trick-or-treating. All the houses are done. People will actually do like mini haunted forests in their front yards.
Oh, cool.
So it's really cute. And then when stuff starts shutting down, there's a Dairy Queen in Ashland, so everybody goes and gets ice cream, and the guys are all dressed up at Dairy Queen, and it's super cheap blizzards, and they're just selling blizzards to kids left and right, and it's cool. It's kind of a nice way to cap the evening.
Very cool.
That's nice.
Okay.
Now, Amy, next year is going to be a big Halloween for you.
Yes.
Do you have any plans before then, or?
Well, this year, I was thinking about, I just bought a ton of candy for trick-or-treaters, like 3 huge bags if I don't eat it before Halloween. I bought 3 huge bags, but I was thinking about maybe, I'm not going anywhere this Halloween that I know of. I might go, go out if like Pat's nephews are going, but I was thinking about being Lori from The Walking Dead, since she's pregnant, and then just running around asking for Carl all night. Has anybody seen Carl? Where's Carl? And I hated Lori so much, so she'd be a good person to be, just complain the whole night. But as far as, I was thinking about this earlier, though, when do you start the Halloween thing with a kid? You know what I mean? When do you start dressing him up and taking him trick-or-treating? Because if he's he's little in a stroller, 6 months old, can I still trick-or-treat, or are people going to be like, are you just getting candy for yourself?
No.
It's a good question. Yeah, it is right for the get-go. I mean, Noelle lucked out because she was born in December. So when her first Halloween came around, she was just a few months shy of being a year old. So technically, you could still, you might not necessarily be able to have her eat all the candy, but you still, by that time, they've been able to. You can maybe chop some stuff up for them, let them suck on it, whatever. Like candy bars, you can chop them up into little pieces and they can grab it and put it in their mouth. Hershey's Kisses. So, I mean, they don't really quite have their teeth yet, but still, it's you need to check through it to make sure that it's okay. I mean, we did it from the get-go. Brianne, I don't know what you did.
We did it too. My youngest sibling and I are 15 years apart. So we took her because she was I guess she was about 8 years old. So my son, it was the same situation because Will's January. So he was almost a year when it came around. So he was cute and dressed up, and she would go to the door. And, I had him on my hip, and I think he was like Yoda, or he was something Star Wars related because he's been like every character. Yeah. But, he was just on my hip, and he'd go, twit, twit, and because that's really all he could say, and he'd kind of wave and babble a little bit. And people would go nuts and give me candy, and I was like, I don't want this, but thank you.
And what's great about my neighborhood is I'm in a, not row homes, but it's a townhome community, so we've got tons of houses in this big community, and they're all, have families, stuff like that. So people actually come into our neighborhood because you can hit all these houses and you can get a ton of candy. So we get people from all over coming in. So it's crazy busy on Halloween in our neighborhood. And there are times where, their parents, usually I see them really young kids, and they go trick-or-treating, and they're so adorable. So then there are other ones that are taking their younger siblings, and they're just holding the babies. The babies are dressed up, but we're not really giving them candy, And so, the younger siblings there, but they still get the chance for the baby to grow up. Now Noah was similar because he was August, so he was 2 months old when his first Halloween came up, and I think we just dressed him up because Noelle was already old enough to walk around, and I don't think we got him anything for Halloween, but just had him be able to experience it with his sister and stuff like that, and walk around, see all the crazy people dressed up and stuff like that, because we do have a ton of people. I mean, we go through like 6 giant, like 200-some piece bags because there
wow.
are so many. I mean, the 6:30 to 7:30 is like one of the craziest times you've ever seen because there's mobs of kids come, mobs here, and then all of a sudden you think, oh, I have a break. No mob of kids coming, you know, and then you're like, okay, it's a little clear now, and then okay, you go back in, refill a candy bowl, then before you know it, here comes some more mobs of kids. So we've just got just tons of mobs. So it's kind of cool. But this year, actually last year, Reisterstown, which is a really nice. It's not a massively big town, but it's a nice small little town. It's like old school small town. I think a lot of people really enjoy it here because it's not too ostentatious or too crazy. We have a main street. It's one of the oldest cities in Maryland. And last year they started this event where it was a trick-or-treat extravaganza where you could go to all these stores on Main Street and they would have candy for you. And you dress up, and so it was a lot of. And we have like the Cow, which is our like Rita's type of place, where it has Italian ice and ice cream like that. So they have and stuff. And then there was like some cafes and stuff like that. But then there was like antique stores and other stuff along the way that they were offering stuff as well. So we're gonna probably do that this year. And then one of Noelle's friends, Maddie, who lives sort of like kind of where you do, not literally where you do, Brianne, but is in an area where the next nearest house is a quarter mile, half a mile away, whatever. She's going to come into our neighborhood and she's going to trick or treat with Noelle. So that's going to be really kind of cool. They're going to do that. There was something I was going to tell you, but I forgot what it was. Yeah, well, it'll come back to me though. So that's it should be a lot of fun. Actually, we had trouble finding Noah's costume. It was to be the Flash, and they were sold out at the Party City near us. So we've got like 2 or 3 other ones near us. So we're going to do that after the show and see if we can get him his Party City thing. And you know, I love Halloween. It should be a lot of fun. Dawn got me an inflatable for our anniversary, so I have an inflatable now. It's a cute, scary tree with a little owl on it and a little pumpkin, cute little scary ghost on the side, and it lights up. So
which is especially lovely of hers because you know she hates it.
Yeah, I think, didn't she tweet something out saying like I'm embarrassed, but I did the same thing.
Yeah. We lost our tree this year because our tree had been dying of some sort of I don't know, tree disease or something like that, and it's been dead for a couple of years, and we finally got it, you know, chopped down. So because I mean, all the other trees in the neighborhood would be blooming, and ours would be this craggly, wintry, creepy tree with all the branches sticking up like that. But we liked it because it was still kind of neat. We could hang lights and stuff like that. But we eventually cut it down now, so our yard is now completely barren, and so. That was one reason why she said, and she's like, you know what, I'll get this, and it's not too big, and she likes it. And she might have said that, but she was looking at this after we got back from church, and I turned on. She's like, we should probably move it so that more people can see it this way. So she might be slightly embarrassed by it, but I think she's starting to warm to it a little bit, which is kind of cool. So that is great. Yeah, is there anything else you ladies want to chat about?
I don't know. Anybody? Yeah.
Let's all look at Amy. All right, Amy, do you have something to talk about?
I'll tell y'all. Well, I've got something. I guess since it's like a geek shower, we're talking about Brianne's really cool engagement, wedding, my baby and stuff. Talk about, you know, Scott Troutman on Facebook. Scott Shot, one of our friends, we're all friends with him. Yeah. He just recently got into a relationship, and I'm really happy for him. Maybe y'all know anything about his ex and everything that happened with that. I don't know how long he's been single, but I know it's been a few years. It's been like a few years, and it was a real, I guess, scary situation with his ex and kind of messed with him. But it's Facebook official. He posted that the other day. It's Facebook official.
I got to like it on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah. So, and you know, I'm really happy for him. The guy seems really cool because the guy has a cat and a dog, and so I love cats and dogs. Scott has a dog too. So I'm just really happy for him. I want to throw that out there if he's listening or watching. Congratulations.
Scott was watching the sci-fi show with us. I think you might have been the one, or somebody said, hey, does your new boyfriend, does he like this kind of stuff, or is he just tolerating it to be with you? He's like, oh, no, he loves this stuff. I was like, all right, more the merrier. Why not?
Oh, yeah. He seems really cool. Yeah, they have a lot in common. That's one thing, like horror movies and stuff like that.
Good.
So, yeah, I'm glad. That's another thing to be happy about.
One of those days, I need to start No, I love you ladies so much, but I might need to start branching and getting some other people on here. I'd like to get Scott on here. It might be pretty cool to have on here. And of course, I'm going to always, ask if you guys are available, because I love when you three get together and I can just sit back and just let you guys talk, and I'm just like, this is great, it's not too bad. And actually, this is actually, I'm not, I shouldn't be surprised because you guys are so great, but I've got 5 viewers. We've got 5 viewers right now, and that's
Girl
almost,
power.
it's uncommon. I think the one I had yesterday with 2 viewers, and then a few others have had 1 or 2 viewers, but never. It's been a while, so I've had maybe 5 on here. So thank you all for watching, and thank you all, ladies. I'm not going to get into the Walking Dead thing because we're getting upon our hour and a half time frame, and I want Bronwyn to watch it, and maybe we can discuss some other time. But Walking Dead tonight, it looks like it's going to be the maybe the capper for the first story arc. And then November 1st, they're going to do their 90-minute expanded episode. The rumor is that's going to be the story of how Morgan went from being crazy insane to Zen Morgan, because Scott Gimple's writing it, and he said he was going to be the one who was going to be doing that story. So it's possible that's going to be like sort of a segue episode that after all the events that happened tonight is going to be like a little chance to catch your breath a little bit, and then lead into the next big story arc. It's going to lead to the mid-season finale. So I think that's how it's going to go. We will be discussing The Walking Dead on November Snooze, which I think we've got labeled for, let's see, the first weekend in November. So let's see, it's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd. It'd be like the 5th of November. So we'll be chatting about the first 4 episodes at least. So we'll have just seen the 90-minute expanded version, and we're going to discuss the first 4 episodes of, because this is the halfway point basically for the series. So, and I'll have to admit, and this is for your benefit, Bronwyn, and I think the Brianne and Amy are going to agree with me. I think this season is probably one of the best ones they've ever done. Just the first 2 episodes they've done have been some of my favorite ones, and just amazingly incredible.
Wow.
Just little sneak peeks. The second episode is definitely Carol's episode, and she's fantastic in it. And the first one I absolutely love because, and this isn't really a spoiler because it's been out there. It shifts from black and white to color, and if you know The Walking Dead, it's a black and white comic, so you actually finally get a chance to see, fully alive on television, black and white Walking Dead, which is fantastic, and it was, and it was fantastic.
Awesome.
It was great.
Awesome.
So I'm really hoping that tonight's episode is going to be just as good, and I think it probably will, because it looks like it will be the capper for. Jen528 says, "I'm on YouTube. Not sure if you can see me. So fun, yeah. We can see you. Yeah, you're our 6th viewer. So thank you, Jen.
Hey,
Too bad
Jen.
we're getting ready to go away."
About an hour late.
But just real quick, I remember what I was going to say. For comic book fans, I know Bronwyn, I know you are a comic fan, but everyone knows Free Comic Book Day is in May. They also have a Halloween spooktacular where they give away free comics on the weekend of Halloween. In this case, I think it's just going to be Halloween since it's on a Saturday. So go to your local comic store. They'll probably have some of these comics to give away for free. I'm going to take the kids there before we do the Main Street trick-or-treating in the afternoon. So and they're going to be horror related, so some of them are more for older kids, but they'll do like an Archie Halloween episode, and maybe like a little Gotham, little Batman, Halloween thing, and maybe some others, like all ages Halloween comics, as well as some for like older kids, for like The Walking Dead and stuff like that. So
I have a quick
Definitely.
question. I have a quick question for 3 of y'all, just really quick, while you're talking about comic books, and since it's the baby thing. One thing I was thinking about doing, and tell me what y'all think, is going to our comic book store. We only have one here. It's really small, but getting some comic books and framing them and putting them in his room. Do you think that those would last, or would he take them down and like rip them out? I wanted to do mostly like the Avengers. I really want to do Walking Dead, but I don't want that for a baby's room.
Well, but here's the thing, though. Amy. If you just want to put them in display and not have them look at them just yet, The Walking Dead actually has some pretty nice looking covers that shouldn't be too scary.
You think so?
Yeah, there's some. I mean, it might not necessarily be like a zombie going bleh, like that, but you might have a shot of Rick or Carl together doing something, or Michonne, you're looking looking badass or whatever. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, if it's one of those where you get it framed, maybe you can remove the frame when they get older, and maybe let them look at the comic. I mean, either way, it should be fine. I mean, that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic idea. What do you ladies think?
I love it.
Oh,
And,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, some of those, if you get like #1s or variant covers and things like that, like it's kind of a neat idea. You can also, even if you get like a variant cover and the #1, you can leave the variant cover even in the frame and have the #1 or the regular cover available for them to read when they get a little bit older.
Yeah, well, I would read it too. Like I'm going to do a lot of reading. I'm planning on doing a lot of reading, for him. But I figured that would be something that would be in his room. That could be there forever. He could even like move off to college with the same thing.
It is, and it's great. What DC and Marvel have been doing is they have been doing, as Bronwyn said, they've been doing these variants, and a lot of them are themed variants. Like there was one since Warner Brothers owns DC, they have been doing variant covers of, like, say, September's DC Comics, where the superheroes are acting with the WB characters. Like you might have Superman and Bugs Bunny together, or Green Lantern and Daffy Duck. They have some of those sort of like that. And then there's Scotty Young's absolutely adorable.
Yes, I was just going to say, you need to get the Scotty Young ones. Oh my God, you need to get the Scotty Young the variant covers, because Scotty Young, they're all the little sort of chibi little baby versions of all of the characters, and it'd be perfect for a baby room.
Yeah, see, I love those. I love that kind.
Oh, the Scotty Young variants would be perfect for a baby room.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, it would be, and that's what's great about covers, is because nowadays covers are more along the lines of being pieces of artwork. They're not really, in the old days, the covers would be like a vision of what is going to come inside the story. I mean, they'd still do it, similarly, because you get a general idea, okay, this is what's going on. Batman's taking on the Joker, but that scene might not necessarily be in the book. It might just be a really creepy looking picture that Greg Capullo thought would look really neat for a cover to get people's attention to draw, because basically that's what you want to do. You want to have you got the fans who are going to automatically love the series and the books, but at the same time they're going to be people who've never maybe read the books or whatever, and they go in the comic book store for the first time, and the cover's got to catch your eye, because you can't, they're not displaying them with the book open, they're displaying them with the cover. So the covers now are becoming these really eye-catching. I think it was David Aja who did the Hawkeye ones, which are these very minimalist things where you've got like a Hawkeye all in like red, and then this like white thing shooting up over him, and there's like a bunch of other people in red chasing after him, but it's like it's like he's in a spotlight, but it's just some really
crazy, spectacular cover.
That's cool. That's really cool.
So just go to your comic book store, and it doesn't necessarily, don't, if you're going to put it in display, you can just take a look at the cover, and if you like the cover, you think it's not too scary or whatever, go ahead and buy it.
Yeah,
even if it is Walking Dead, and inside, you open it inside, and there's people getting their heads decapitated and arms taken off. If it's a cool cover like Michonne looking badass with her katanas ready to slice and dice, but there's no blood or gore on it, go for it,
Yeah, okay, cool. I'm glad y'all think that's a good idea. I'm going to try that out.
Marvel's releasing pins right now, too, with all the Scotty Young characters, all the Marvel characters as the Scotty Young little versions, and they're so cute. They're just beautiful. Like all these little, and you can get them in little blind boxes, but you can also get them in little packs. They're so cute. They were all the rage at New York Comic Con. I have a little Mary Jane, and she goes. There's a little upside down Spider-Man, and they're getting a little heart, and they go together and they're kissing.
Oh, how cute!
Yeah. They're so cute. You can get, and they're like they do a whole bunch of them. So there's like Medusa and Hawkeye and there's all of them. They're so cool.
That's precious.
Yeah, they're really adorable. They're neat for like putting up on little you can wear them on clothes because they're pins.
Yeah.
But and not like the round pins. They're like the metal sort of like but you can put them on like a cork board or anything like that. So.
Yeah, maybe do like a cork board with
Yeah.
pictures and then put those up there. That'd be perfect. That's a good idea.
In my store does they sell tumblers, glasses that have superheroes etched in them as well. From like might have like a Jack Kirby, I don't know, character that he created, like Darkseid or something like that, might be on this glass, and it's etched in, and it's gorgeous. But it's a nice tumbler glass that you can use and drink from, stuff like that. I mean, you can put some of those on display. You can just have them on your own as whatever. So
Yeah.
So, Brianne, are you okay?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, I'm sitting there thinking, God, I really want to like decorate something. Like I'm going like, what do we have in the living room that I could suggest to her? I did. We found this last night at Walmart. Oh my God, I just knocked everything over. And top, I know everything. But look how cute the dewback is.
Oh, how precious. I love it.
I love it.
That's cute.
That is awesome. I love it. The Funkos are amazing. They are one of the coolest things that they've ever done. And Bronwyn's got one. Doctor Who, Mr. Baker.
Oh, cute.
Just love him.
Actually, it was great. Dawn got me for our anniversary was earlier October, and she finally she ordered some stuff and it finally came in. She got me a loot crate for October, and the theme was time. Yeah. And they had a Funko exclusive of Dr. Emmett Brown from Back to the Future, with him putting the plugs together, the electricity from Back to the Future, when he goes down there just as the DeLorean hits the wire and it goes into the future. They had the Doctor Who Spork, which is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
A Bill and Ted T-shirt, which is awesome. It says "Be excellent to each other," which I absolutely love.
I love that.
They had a little model hoverboard, and they had a pin. They had a pin, like this is October's Loot Crate, and it was I think it might have been a picture of the flux capacitor. So it was it's just a little bit of time travel stuff like that. So those Loot Crates are kind of cool. So definitely, Funkos are a good thing to put on display as well. Action figures, stuff like that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and my 4 viewers out there now, this wraps up our Geek Shower of episode of the Dylan Knows International. We want to all thank you for listening and watching and interacting, and we also want to wish you all a happy Halloween coming up on Saturday. So have fun, get spooky, get some free candy, because November rolls in next Sunday, and I think time change happens next Sunday, I think, also. So get to turn our clocks back, and it's going to start getting dark at like 4 in the afternoon now. So
Probably.
Yep. November 1st, as of now, is going to be my comic episode with MJ Khan. So we'll be talking a ton of news coming up with comics and comic-related films and TV shows. And he should be finished his second novel, so we'll probably chat a little bit about that as well. Maybe get some pushing out there. Real quick, Bronwyn, do you want to push Steve's podcast?
Oh, yes. Everybody should go to talkingcomicbooks.com and listen to the podcasts there. They have any number of them. There's Talking Comic Books, there's Talking Games, and they have a couple of new ones. There's Talking Shoujo, and of course there's always the ladies there as well. So The Misfits is a great show as well. So any of those podcasts are worth listening to. And you can also go to joblo.com and check out Ink and Pixel.
Very good. Brianne, does Danny take any applications for special action figures? Do you want to push any of that, or?
Yeah, for sure. He actually does. Right now, most of his requests have been for like existing characters, but he's going to move into doing action figures for individuals. Like if you wanted one of yourself, you could get a Savage action figure custom made, so like your clothes, your face. And he has a whole process. Right now we're just using Facebook, so if you go on Facebook and look up Kawoosh Collectibles, Kawoosh, it's got the Facebook page. He's actually working on building the website right now, but the Facebook has got all the info, and anytime he's working on something or takes a cool picture, it's posted up there. So we'll have Doctor Who and Stargate and Star Trek and Star Wars Christmas ornaments coming like really super soon,
That's
and
awesome.
they'll be up there on the page. Yep.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to have to follow up on that. Amy, do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, since everybody's talking about their better half, if any of you need to take your children to the hospital, my boyfriend will be there.
Not Danny, Pat. Pat will be there.
Not really. We haven't decided on a name yet. Well, Dylan is going to call him Cage
Regardless of
Fanning,
what you
no
choose,
matter
I'm gonna call him
what. Yeah,
Cage
no
Fanning,
matter
yes.
what. But pretty soon we'll probably be announcing that. Oh, and I did get my first baby gifts and first baby clothes. So I'm gonna post pictures of those. I meant to bring them over here with me, but I don't have them, so I could show you guys. But yeah, I'll post those pretty soon. I think you guys would be proud of some of them.
If you want to, both Brianne and Amy, if you want to tell us where you're registered.
Oh yeah. You said Amazon. Weren't you registered on Amazon?
Yeah, we're on Amazon. You'll be able to easily tell it's mine.
Because of the raptor.
We should all put in money. All the Snark Gals should put in money and get you the life-size raptor. I think we need to do that.
Only if you promise to have it at the ceremony with the Stargate.
Yes, if that raptor is bought for us before the wedding. The raptor in the rental car.
And Amy, are you registered anywhere that you want to tell us? You don't have to.
I haven't registered anywhere yet. The funny thing is that I think I'm going to register a couple places, maybe Babies R Us, and even Barnes and Noble, because I said I want to get a lot of books. I want to go and start collecting those now.
And Amazon might be a good one.
And Amazon. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a really good idea. So I'm going to check out Amazon. But now that we know the gender of the baby, it's going to be a lot easier to register for stuff that we need. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated and posted on that.
And also, Brianne, I just saw this too. Maybe we're trying to plan a Snark Stock for Baltimore sometime in June. Maybe if we can get you and Danny up, maybe we can have a little wedding thing for you there. We'll have to wait and see. As I said, we're just starting the preliminary discussions on it. So it is going to, I think we pretty much decided it's going to be in Baltimore, and everyone's invited who can make it. So we'll send out more info once we get, it's still a little early since it won't be till June, but it's still a little early, and we'll let you guys know. All right?
Heck yeah, absolutely.
Sounds awesome.
I think I've plugged everything. Everyone's plugged everything. And all I have to say is have a pleasant Sunday. Enjoy your Halloween week. I'll be back November 1st. Noah, you want to say goodbye?
Bye.
Bye-bye.